face today that we must address. Again, the numbers have to be looked at squarely. 46% of New Yorkers at or near the poverty level. More than 50,000 people in homeless shelters, over 20,000 of them children, both unprecedentedly high levels. A safety net that's challenged in so many ways, including the threats to our community hospitals that we talked about so much in the campaign, and that have to be central to the work we do. And the threat to New York City posed by the cutbacks that have been happening incessantly in the federal budget, the sequestration and the other challenges that we're experiencing from Washington. All of that is the big picture reality. Those are the statistics, those are the trends, those are the problems. But now let's make it very personal. And I think part of why I appreciate the work of all of you in the media is that many, many times you shed light on the challenges of this city in very personal ways, very human ways. The articles we've seen this week on the front page of the Times are exemplary of that. The story of this one young lady, Dasani, I can tell you, having crisscrossed the city and talked to all sorts of people in the course of this week, that it's been gripping to a lot of people. It's been gripping to all of us who are part of this transition. It's not that we didn't know these problems existed before, but to see them through the eyes of one child and one family brings it home in a very forceful way. And to hear the challenges that this family has faced in a shelter, living in a way that is not acceptable for any New Yorker to live, literally just blocks away from $1 million brownstones. Well, if you ever needed an illustration of what the Tale of Two Cities is all about, there you have it. We are simply not going to allow this kind of reality to continue. The sad fact is that some of our city's policies and some of our approach over the years has not helped people transcend their challenges. In some ways, unfortunately, some of these policies, some of these approaches have kept people stuck in place. And we're not going to let down Dasani or any young woman or any young man like that. It's our job to do better for them. I think the transformation requires many things. I think everyone in this room knows that one of the first things I would ever say when we talk about how to uplift our young people is that we have to ensure every child in the city gets full-day pre-K and every middle school child gets after school. And that's why we will, in almost every time we meet, you'll hear me talk about our plan that we will take to Albany to achieve those goals. I think that's foundational to setting our children on the right path regardless of their economic circumstance. It's clear we have to address the situation in our shelters. We have the highest number of people in shelter in the history of the city, the highest number in the city-run shelter system ever, the highest number of people who are homeless in any sense, literally since the Great Depression. And it simply can't continue. So we will address the problems of the shelter system, and we will take a very different approach. And we're going to use every tool we have, and then we're going to turn to our partners in the nonprofit sector and our friends in the private sector, the foundation world. We're going to turn to Washington, we're going to turn to Albany, we're going to use everything we have to start to turn around this tale of two cities. And I can assure you that we will quickly focus on the Auburn facility, and we will not allow what's happening there to continue. The fact is that to make fundamental change will take a lot of steps. If we're going to truly reduce the number of homeless people, we're going to have to go back to preventative programs. We have some illustrations here at different points on our platform. If you look at our platform, we talk very clearly about reestablishing the preventative efforts that worked. The rental subsidies, the anti-eviction legal services. We've talked about ways to reduce the huge burden on the shelter system now and help people get to decent homes in the short term, and ways of turning around this phenomenon. We must get to work on this right away. We can't let children of this city like Dasani down. And I know we have more tools at our disposal than we're using right now. We also will focus on the fact that for our children, it's not enough that they have a decent place to live. That is not the only factor. It's not nation, they also need quality health care. And we're going to redouble our efforts to protect community health facilities, to make sure that health care is available to people in their neighborhoods. I've said throughout the fight to save Long Island College Hospital, the fight to save interfaith. If health care is too far away from the people we need to serve, it won't be effective for them. It won't be there for them when they need it. It won't be something easy to access, and we have to help families, in particular children, have ready access to health care if we're going to serve them properly. All of these missions are central to our agenda, and all of them will be acted on simultaneously. To lead the effort, I needed to find someone that I knew shared this urgency and this understanding of what we had to do. I needed to find someone who I knew had the same values, the same understanding of the people of our city, who took it personally, who saw these children as her children, these families as her family. And I needed to find someone who had the experience and understanding of our city government agencies, our nonprofit organizations, a strong and consistent understanding of their work that would allow her to hit the ground running, making the changes that we need to make. A combination of values and experience was absolutely crucial. Now, to me, as I thought about who could lead this kind of effort and bring together the talent we needed while attacking the problems on all these fronts, it became increasingly clear to me that that person was Liliam Barrios-Paoli. I have known Liliam for many years. I've seen her work. I've seen the way she collaborates with every kind of New Yorker, every kind of organization. I've seen the extraordinary integrity she brings to the work. I've seen the knowledge and the understanding. And I think very few people in the city have a stronger understanding of what the New York City government is capable of doing to help its people. And I also got to know Liliam on a very personal level over the years. I came to admire what motivated her. That she started out in her native Mexico as an activist, as someone devoted to addressing inequality, to changing society for the better of all. She, at one point in her life, chose a spiritual path. I think for 5 years, was a nun. And a nun who not only served others, but also was influenced, as I was, by some very progressive ideas of how we could make our society more fair, many of which were associated with liberation theology. And then, like so many wonderful talents around the world, Liliam came to New York City. And it didn't take long for her talent and her drive and her understanding of what people were going through to start to help the people of New York City. She quickly was identified years ago by people who do this work as one of the rising talents. And she proceeded to run a number of city agencies.